everybody. Time for the weekly sermon. I hope you've had a great weekend and are jumping into the new week full of enthusiasm and promise. As you can hear, I'm still a bit croaky, but I'm getting there. I'm mending. Today's question was, why has weight loss got so damned hard? There's lots of reasons. I think the first thing we need to do is understand that our body and our brain is not the enemy, right? It's just doing its job. It is totally on our side. In the past, survival was linked to gaining weight. Health and longevity was linked to how heavy you were. Think about it. You know, if you carried excess weight, you were going to live longer through famine or through a poor winter or through any kind of disaster than if you didn't have a lot of weight. If you didn't have a lot of reserve, you weren't going to last as long. So in the old days, it was totally to our body's advantage to gain and hang on to weight at all costs. So number one, don't hate your body. It's not working against you. It is hardwired to want sugar and fat and salt for survival. Now, in the environment we live in at the moment, of course, the food manufacturers know this to be true. So they've taken a lot of time and put a lot of effort into the mouthfeel and the tastes of our foods, and also the dopamine hit, because we get a squirt of feel-good hormones in our brain from certain foods, which is what makes them so addictive. In the past, if we came across something sweet like a bush full of berries or a tree full of fruit, it was in our interests to eat as much of it as possible. So we got a dopamine hit, we got a blood sugar spike. Blood sugars went up and down. That's why once you start with something sweet or something high glycemic, you feel like you can't stop. So the food manufacturers know that. They've jumped onto that with glee and make a lot of money out of our primal instincts for survival. Second thing that's made it so hard is we just don't, or most of us, this is generalization, but most of us don't move as much as we used to. You know, we live in what I hear being called an obesogenic society, which means we have access to a lot of calorie dense and often nutrient poor foods, and we don't move our bodies very much. Now, as you know, I don't believe in exercise for weight loss. I don't believe in punishing yourself with exercise for making a food poor choice at all. But I do believe that the human body is made to move. For physical and mental health, we are supposed to move our bodies. So we have this glut of food and we're not moving very much. So those are two things. I think another one is stress. Human beings were not supposed to be under the day-to-day stress that we find ourselves in, not the chronic, long-term, cortisol-producing stress, which again keeps us in that survival mode and keeps us looking for external gratification to feel good, which often comes in the form of cookies or cake or chippies or lollies or whatever the thing is for you that gives you that little bit of stress relief, that little bit of a dopamine hit in your brain that feels good. And we always want the short term feel good over the long term going a little bit harder in order to make health gains, I guess. Yeah. So what are the answers? We need to be prepared to take time to fuel our bodies well. Like we take time to put the right fuel in our car. It's really, really important. So we need to take time to eat whole foods, not stuff that comes out of packets. We need to take time to plan that food ahead and to prepare that food. And do it with love and nourishment for our body and our family. It's, you know, we're time poor, so it's really easy to grab those quick fixes which are not healthy. So we have to somehow carve out the time. And I have lots of lifestyle hacks in my program that we use to make that quick and easy. So my click and collect will be here shortly, and it will be all chopped up before it even gets put away. Some of it will be going in the oven to make a roast veggie medley before it even goes away. There's stuff that will be portioned and put in the freezer. There's rice that will be cooked and portioned and frozen. It's all done ahead of time. It takes me no time. It's just habit, right? It's not about discipline, not about anything else. It's just making it a habit. The shopping doesn't come in through the door anymore without that happening. The other thing is to look at your incidental exercise, and that's just steps, right? Measure your steps on your watch or your phone. Don't get obsessed with it. It's just an awareness. But how many steps are you really doing a day? It doesn't have to be 10,000, but it needs to be somewhere between 7 and 10,000. Get most of the benefits you get at 10 at 7, but for our health, mental, physical well-being, metabolic health, which means how we break down and use our food, we need to move our bodies. So I would say gift yourself at least 7,000 steps every day, and then make the second gift that you give yourself the gift of strength training. In my program, we literally start with just a resistance band. We start with twice a week for 20 minutes with a resistance band. So we're breaking the muscle fibers on a cellular level. We're reteaching those muscle fibers what to do with food, like draw it into muscle, not store it around our middle. And that, I could go on about that for hours, but that has a profound effect. So gift yourself the time to food prep, gift yourself the time to move your body incidentally, and shove in a couple of strength training sessions a week. Be strong. Strong women stay young. Strong women live longer. And third, stress. Again, it's about carving out time to put yourself first to handle that stress. For me, the joy of being out with my dogs in nature is a great stress relief. In fact, they call being out in nature, they call it forest bathing, because the effect that it has, it will reduce your blood pressure, reduce your resting heart rate. It has all kinds of wonderful physiological effects. So getting outside in nature is really, really important, and we kind of have lost sight of that. And I think if we can get outside in nature with friends, so we've got that sense of community as well, that's even better. So those two things are really important, and it's making the time to fuel your body with quality fuel, making the time to drink enough water, because weight loss will be hard if you're not drinking enough water. Not drinking enough water slows all of those metabolic processes down. Drinking enough water is worth 0.5 kilo of fat loss in a month on its own. So, so profound. Such an easy thing to do. Gift yourself time to do something for you, and whether that's journaling. I do a thing called morning pages every morning. So it could be that. It could be, I do yoga as well. I do 10 minutes. I don't do an hour. I do 10 minutes yoga every morning. Could be yoga. Could be some form of meditation. Like I said before, it could just be getting outside with the dogs. Gift yourself the time to de-stress. The time to just let go and let your stress levels drop and your cortisol levels drop. And that in itself will have a really, really profound effect on your health and your fat loss. So just to recap, your body is not your enemy. Your body is doing its job, which is to survive. And in the old days, the heavier you were, the longer you survived. Now, sometimes the heavier you are, the less long you're going to survive. But in the old days, it was the other way round. So your body doesn't know that we're surrounded by Dunkin' Donuts and BP and the supermarket, right? It still thinks it's foraging. It is still innately hardwired to want sugar, fat, and salt. So we're fighting that. And the food manufacturers know it, which is why they put that stuff in front of us. Shop round the outside of the supermarket, take time to plan and eat real whole foods, not out of packets. Take time to prep. There's lots of food prep hacks. It can be quick and it can be easy, but look at it as putting the right fuel into your body for the week. So you're giving your body the fuel that it needs to do what it needs to do. And often, sometimes under-eating and fad diets are just as bad. If you're undernourished and, I see these ridiculous diets of, 1,000 calories or 1,200 calories a day. A woman needs at least 1,400 calories a day to get all of the nutrients into her body that she needs. And if you are constantly undernourished, of course your body's not going to release fat as a fuel. It's going to hang on to it for dear life. So take the time to eat whole, real foods. Take the time to move your body a little bit more incidentally within your day. Take time to plan some form of strength training or resistance training. Find out what that is, what it means for you. Listen, 10 minutes twice a week is a start. Anything that stimulates those cells and makes them sensitive to insulin will help your journey in terms of fat loss. And thirdly, make some time for you. Make some time for you outside with friends, some time for you to meditate, to journal, and take a deep breath. I was talking to a client this morning. She has been with me for, I think, 12 or 14 months. And she started at 80 kilos and she's now 66 kilos. So whatever that is, 14 kilos down. And it was her birthday this week. And she said, I automatically tried to go back to those old behaviors. I tried to drink 5 Baileys and I tried to have sticky ribs and birthday cake and all of this stuff. And I just ended up feeling sick and ill and realized I didn't want it anymore. I don't want to live like that anymore. And I couldn't wait to get outside the next day and go for a walk. I couldn't wait to get out and walk up the mount and walk on the beach and do all of those things. And that is, for me, that's the beauty of what I do. It's not about kilos lost. It's about lives changed. And seeing that change in someone who is now aware of what she was doing to her body, what was going into her body, the inflammation. In fact, I was talking to someone else this morning about how their thought processes are sharper now and they're more onto it, because they're not eating shit all the time and their blood sugars aren't going up and down all of the time. So, for me, that vision of clear thinking, being able to focus on nourishing your body with love, moving that body and de-stressing that body are the most important things that you can do. And if you start to work on those things, just pick at the low hanging fruit. What's easy for you? Is the first thing easy just to start to build up those steps every day? Or is the first thing that's easy to stop eating out of packets and start shopping the outside of the supermarket and cook 3 or 4 meals a week that you can freeze and have ready to go? Or is the easiest thing for you practicing journaling every morning? Because we have to manage our mind around all of this stuff. Or is the easiest thing for you 10 minutes yoga every morning? Pick the low-hanging fruit and make that habit. It's not to do with motivation or willpower. It's due to little micro habits that will then get the momentum going and get you moving forward until, like my client this morning, you are truly living in that 80-20 space where 80% of the time you are nourishing your body with good fuel, you're looking after yourself, you're doing the exercise. 20% of the time you are celebrating life with food and possibly alcohol as well, and you're lying on the couch watching Netflix. It's about getting that balance, not the other way around, not the 20-80, the 80-20. Have a fabulous week, everybody. Look forward to talking to you next week. I have a new round of the program starting for September. This week actually starts today. So if you'd like to jump on, please just give me a yell. I have 3 spaces, I believe, left. I also have a space for one-on-one client. So if you would like either of those, please just message me or DM me or email me, and I'll be back to you in a flash. Have a fabulous week. Bye, guys.